WRPB Treasure Coast Video, introducing the local candidates for election 2020.
And welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. And in our election program, we're proud to bring on candidates that are running. And like always, I try to get the name out so I get it right the first time. So it's Corinna Balderramos Robinson.
Yes, thank you.
And you're running for State Senate District 25.
Yes, I am.
Got that out. Okay, so why did you choose politics?
I chose politics because at the end of the day, it's really the vote that influences change by way of garnering the backing of how legislators feel that they can connect with the resources and the funding to carry out a program or a policy.
So I always say that maybe me as a person can't change things, but if I don't go out there and vote, if they don't go out there and vote, nothing's ever going to change. Is that correct? I mean, is that how it works?
Well, our forefathers fought so hard for that opportunity to have a democracy, and voting is critical as a part of that. So yes, I would encourage every eligible voter to vote.
Okay, so there's only a certain time they give me to do this. So I'm going to ask you your qualifications because there's so many and you're so qualified for that position. So just tell me some of the things that you've done besides your amazing military career.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I grew up in very humble beginnings in South Dakota and of Mexican descent, and my father sadly passed away when I was very young. So the oldest of three girls, I worked very hard to make sure I did my very best as a citizen. And then at 17, I joined the United States Army. Spent 25 years on active duty. Wow. And traveled the world. And in that time, I raised three sons who truly are my heroes. I deployed to Iraq. I deployed troops to Afghanistan, responded to the Pentagon after 9/11, and every opportunity to serve with the airborne or the infantry units and many other joint elements was truly an opportunity to lead and lead with passion, and that every particular mission was complex. It required a lot of critical thinking and a lot of teamwork.
And a lot of instant decisions, I would think. And just from that piece alone, you so fall into politics because decisions have to be made. And sometimes they're not easy decisions. And sometimes they're not going to make everybody happy. Like, I mean, that's how I would think. One of the things we were talking about in the green room was you said to find that common ground. And I always say, here, when you're interviewing, find that thread that connects you. And that's so important because you get nothing else done. Okay, tell me, District 25, what does that encompass?
Well, District 25 is rather large. It includes three counties, Martin County, St. Lucie County, and the very northern part of Palm Beach County. And a lot of hard workers out there, a lot of great families. And in my strengths in finding common ground, when I worked on Capitol Hill as a Brookings Legislative Fellow, or when I was a Director of Legislative Affairs in Iraq, it was not uncommon for me to find where the gap was. And whether I was talking to ambassadorial staffs or general officers or other people from foreign nations or interagencies, Joint Terrorism Task Force, I'm one of those people that run to the sound of the guns. So where is the problem? Where's the gap? Who are the key stakeholders? How do we bring everyone together to find an amenable way to work towards a complex problem? So I'm not new to that type of thinking or activity, and I think even though I'm only 5'2", I will lead that effort.
I'm only 5'2".
I will lead that effort.
And that's, it's funny because I love being short. So for me, it's a blessing. Okay, most people say, but I love being short. And I was able to accomplish a number of things in business. I don't think that my height made any difference. But let me ask you this, and this came from a prior interview that I had. The candidate who I interviewed said, it's so important to have family support when you're going to get into politics. So you have three sons?
Yes.
Do they support you going into politics?
Oh, they absolutely do. You know, they're probably some of my best ambassadors out there. They study the issues, they know where I stand. They are three half-black sons, matter of fact. I was married for a period of time in the service, and so they too are a testament that some of the challenges we face now ongoing across the nation and here in Florida, they understand that we all have to rise above it. We have to maintain positivity and to get through this pandemic safely. And you know, there's a lot of love in my family.
That's amazing, and that's great. I mean, that's just a great thing. And you know, my family was Brooklyn born, and my mom's 88, and I'm her caregiver. And I grew up in a very prejudiced household, and because that's what it was back then. I don't see color anymore. It doesn't matter. Okay, those things really just tell me what you've done positive is really what matters to me. What you add to the world or to your community. Let me ask you this: what are the issues that you see in District 25?
There's several issues I would say of great importance right now is providing emergency relief and support during this pandemic. You know, I do have a heavy emergency management background. My PhD is in Homeland Security, so I spent quite a bit of time working with first responders, all the way from the local level to the very federal level, and even overseas. So we really have to make sure that we stay on top of making sure we are taking care of our families, keep the small businesses open, whether our children go to school or not. We just need to be very aware of where the risks are and be transparent in where our shortfalls are. Hopefully we will get, you know, resolution on a vaccine here shortly, but that's paramount right now. And then, of course, the environment here, dealing with algae blooms, cyanotoxins, making sure that our water is safe, and working with the Corps of Engineers. I had some limited experience with them in D.C., and so we have to make sure that we're, you know, living safely and being aware of climate change. I mean, we see all the wildfires happening now on the West Coast. And then, of course, education. There needs to be a great amount of effort making sure our children have the best education. And then further on, as they mature into college students, I work with a college right now as a program director in making sure that it's affordable. And the trade schools, and heard one of your interviews
right,
before.
We were just talking about that,
Yes.
how skilled labor is as important as the college grad.
It is. So, you know, again, you know, most of my family members on the Mexican side were hard laborers. You know, they were out there working on the farms, or they were electricians and plumbers, and so we have to keep that up as well. And then I would say safe elections. You know, making sure we're not vulnerable to internal or external threats. I worked a lot of cyber security type of programs, and we have to make sure that they're not interfered with, and that there's full capability for people to vote by mail, especially during this pandemic, to do so safely. And then I would just say healthcare, of course, affordable healthcare for everyone, and making sure that we can keep our hospitals or our clinics from being overcrowded during this pandemic right now, giving our first responders some relief. And so there's a lot of work to do, and I'm ready for it.
There is. We're getting to the top of our time. I want to thank you, first of all, for your service in the military. I want to thank you for all the services that you've done community-wise, okay? I expect that when you get in, because we always stay positive here, okay, that you'll make those positive changes that you talk about. And we live in paradise. You guys would come on, just make this paradise even better to live in. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Everybody, we'll be right back.